Hey, friends. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Chris Schultz, and this is the Analog Podcast. We are going to jump right in and see if we can cover some good ground here, talking about my new book, Analog. I am so excited to have you joining me. I want to share first and foremost that this podcast and this book are stories from my life. But the reason that I'm sharing this and the reason that I wrote the book is really about you and other people in my life, people who may benefit from some of the things I've learned. Heck, even Harper, my daughter, other people through the years that this might get passed on to. These are nuggets of wisdom, the best I have to give, and I hope they mean something to you. I want to start with, what is the good life? The title of the book of Analog is How to Love Your Work and Not Wait for Retirement to Live the Good Life. So what is the good life? The good life is about not waiting for retirement to begin living the life that you feel like you were meant to lead. The good life is to begin to incorporate things, routines, practices, adventures, things into your life now that you dream of, that you think about, that you want to live, ways you want to live in the future, that you can begin to incorporate those into your life today. This is about getting to it, figuring out what makes you happy and starting to do those things today. So many of us feel trapped on a hamster wheel. We are so busy. Our lives are so full. It's difficult to reflect and think about these things. And the good life is my encouragement to take time and begin to think about what makes you happy and begin to do those things. So why? Why do I care about the good life? What does this mean to me? Let me take you back and explain what happened to me 17 years ago. My dad died. We found out that he was diagnosed with cancer. After he was diagnosed with cancer, I got married. My two sisters got married. We really began to move our lives along from where we were at that time in order to share parts of those journeys with him. I went on a fishing trip with him. This was a fishing trip that had been aborted from a time we went fly fishing to celebrate his birthday. We were in Northern Virginia and we had just stepped into the river and just started our first few casts. And all of a sudden we started hearing sirens. Those sirens kept coming. Pretty soon a guide came out and said to us, "Guys, you're going to have to come back." And we went back to the lodge, turned on the TV, and watched the second Twin Tower fall. Shortly after he was diagnosed, I said, "Dad, let's go redo that trip." And we spent the most wonderful time in the water, drinking coffee, drinking beer at night, just being with each other and soaking up all of the time. Something else I did with my dad during those 3 years was we built the upstairs suite to the family cottage, the beach house that we have in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. He and I had renovated when I was going through college. This home was meant to be his retirement home. This was going to be the quote unquote good life of retirement once he got there at 65, where he and my mom were going to live out the years. This is his happy place. And we built this suite, this master suite, this beautiful bedroom, and worked away on it throughout the time he had cancer and finally completed it before he died. The whole time it was heartbreaking to me. I was with him, wanted to spend every moment with him I could, but I also knew he would never get to enjoy it. This was something that we were doing together and he was doing to set our family up and create this space for my mom, but that he wasn't going to get to enjoy that. And getting cut down at 63 years old when you're a CEO of a major nonprofit, you're just getting set to live the life that you've been dreaming about, out on boats, fishing every morning, enjoying those golden years. And this raised the question for me, what if I don't get there? What if any of us, it's possible, it's entirely possible. Things can happen at any time. You don't think about that, but they can. And it took me a while. And through the grief and the processing, what I found myself doing was when I would go on vacation or be in a particular place or be doing a particular thing, I'd say to myself, boy, dad would love this. I know dad's loving this. And it might be mahi fishing in the Sea of Cortez in Mexico, might be a camping adventure down the Baja, might be swimming with my daughter Harper, but I would be like, dad would love this. And I thought, am I living for him right now? And I came to realize that the gift that his death gave me was my opportunity to pick up where he left off. And the more I could incorporate the good things I wanted to be doing with my life, things that brought me joy into my life now, right now, as soon as possible, the better. And the more I was doing those types of things, I was honoring his loss, honoring his memory. And so I began really living the good life as much as I could. But let's pause here. This isn't just my story. At some point in your life, you're going to hit a wall too. Maybe you already have. And in those moments, the real questions show up. It could be a loss of a loved one, a challenge in business or in your career. It may be a number of different things. It may be the birth of a child. It might be a milestone birthday. It might be a natural disaster like a hurricane or a wildfire. All of those things are things that I've experienced and things that I write about in the book. But when you do begin to think, inevitably, you're going to think about, what am I doing with my life right now? Am I really living the life I want to lead? This is the encouragement. This is the opportunity to begin thinking about what your good life is and begin incorporating those things right now. For me, that moment came during COVID. I was fried. Our business was tanking. And I also hadn't had a break in my career since I started working. I'd never taken a break. And as our business was tanking and I was experiencing this burnout, I said to Anne, I would like nothing more than to be able to take a sabbatical and go write a book. And to her credit and wisdom and empathy and love, she said, go do that. And so that's what I did. And here we are today, and I'm starting to talk about it with you 5 years later. This is a 5-year period of reflection. So what is the good life for me? Through that period of reflection, I initially started just writing, just getting it out, telling stories. It was like therapeutic, like morning pages. If anybody does morning pages out there, it's a wonderful practice and it just gets you writing and gets your brain moving. I was doing that, but it wasn't going anywhere. It certainly wasn't forming a book. But the process of writing and reflection led me in the direction of, what do I have to say? I need to figure out, what does the world want to hear from me? It's not even about what the world wants to hear from me. It's about what's my truth? What are the things I deeply believe? And I remember I was in a pool in Todos Santos one day, swimming with Harper, and she was jumping in the pool, and I was seeing the joy on her face. It was bringing me such joy. And I clicked what my pillars that I live by, what matters to me, what those are. Agency. And agency to me means having my hands on the wheel of my life. My path to agency has been through entrepreneurship. I've found my way there by starting businesses, by being my own boss. It's a wonderful way to work and live. We talk about work-life integration. Sometimes your work and your life is pretty much the same thing. But having agency, being able to wake up each morning and do what I want to do, and being in control of my life to the greatest extent I can is a core pillar for me. Next was joy, optimizing for happiness, which is something Anna and I would say to each other as we were coming together after we had been through the pain and anger you get into in a divorce. What are the moments in life that bring joy? Identifying that for myself, encouragement for you to identify it for yourself. What are those things, whether it's a walk in nature, listening to music on an analog record, reading a book, playing with your kids, being in community, being with your friends, all of those things that bring us joy. That was the second pillar for me. And then the third reflection was the importance of finding meaning in our lives. What are we here for? What are we doing? Who are we living for? What is this? And those are all questions that are a search for meaning in our lives. The path to meaning that I've found to be true and sure is through helping others. My dad taught me that. My dad lived his life in service of others all around the globe. And it was a gift to me to bear witness to that life that he lived of lifting people up and helping people. And if you're searching for meaning in your life, a sure way to do it is finding a way to help people. And that can be as small but important as raising your family. That can be serving your community in some way. That can be taking part, being a coach at soccer practice. There's all sorts of ways to find a path to meaning. The question is, do you have to write a book to figure out? Now, here's the good news. You don't have to write a book to reflect. The process of reflection is essentially what writing this book was about for me. And it helped me figure out what was meaningful to me in my life. What were the themes? What were the things I lived by? What was important to me? And understanding what those things are crucial before you can live the good life. But again, you don't have to write a book. A period of reflection is the way to get there. And I certainly encourage a period of reflection to anyone watching or listening right now. This could come from one of those traumas or crises or milestones that we talked about earlier. It also could be incorporated as a daily practice. This could be something you do in your morning meditation. This could be something you do in your weekly hike. These periods of reflection help us calibrate. Are we on the right track? Are we living the life we want? One of the things that I did when I was going through some of the grief and trauma that I experienced at a particular point in my career, when I was really suffering from anxiety and kind of depression in a very challenging time in our business. One of our Launchpad locations was on the verge of going under, and I had a $400,000 personal guarantee on my shoulders. I was not handling it in a healthy way. I was drinking too much. I would drown my sorrows in a bottle of wine each night. And this only led to more exasperation and was impacting my sleep. I don't know how many others have been there, but It's not a great pattern to be in. I was introduced somehow to an app called 10% Happier, and this was a meditation app. And I said to myself, well, I'd like to be 10% happier, even 1% happier would do. And I began using this app to meditate. And this was the beginning of a transformation for me when I began addressing the things in my life that were causing anxiety and that were out of alignment. I began bringing them into alignment and living a life that was in integrity. But by getting there, I was taking step by step closer towards living my good life. So that idea of being 1% happier, if employing the process of reflection in your life could bring you 1% happier, to 1% closer to being happier in your day-to-day, wouldn't you start doing it today? This is a call not to wait for the end of your life, the end of your career, for retirement, to begin living your good life. You can begin to incorporate things into your life today. I'll talk about some of those things in my book that helps me. They may help you, but a period of reflection and thinking about what matters to you is really what it's all about. And that's going to lead you on the path to your good life. So here's where I want to leave you. Reflection is the doorway to truth. And once you find your truth, that's when the good life begins. Not in retirement, but now. The good life isn't waiting at retirement like a gold watch. It's available to you now. Maybe not full time, but you can start weaving it into your life today. If you envision yourself on a beach, go take a vacation. If you see yourself doing something creative, take a small first step. Take 5 minutes today and sit in quiet reflection. Ask myself, am I living the life I want? And think about what comes up. You may want to make some changes. Maybe there are some small things you can do. Thanks for helping me kick off my analog book podcast series. If you're so inclined, I'd love to hear your thoughts or any reflections that this encouraged in the comments below. And I just wanted to say thank you for all the support I've been getting from friends and family and people all over. This has been an amazing process going through writing this book. I've been talking about it now, which is fun to be out there talking about it. It will be out soon, October 21st. And I appreciate all of your support and hope that this serves you in some way. Thanks for being with me today. I'm Chris Schultz.